Why is this here? Stupid. I thought you're gonna do some vlogs today. You told me that you're gonna do some vlogs today. Supposed to be you're gonna do that right now. Ano ba yan? Oh, wala siya dito sa toilet. He's not in the toilet. Oh, he's not in the kitchen. Where that stupid guy? Supposed to do some vlogs. Nasaan na ba yan? Kakainis. Where he is? Oh, he's not here. Okay. Oh, the plants are good. Oh, that's so nice. Where he is that now? Oh, the beautiful plants who do this. And also this. This and this. Oh, there you are, stupid guys. I'm still looking for you for almost an hour. Where you been?
Working.
You're such a...
Why?
I'm looking for you. I thought you were gonna do some vlogs today.
Not today.
You told me last night you're gonna do some vlogs.
I told you I did?
Yes.
No. But look, I gotta pet these bulbs. I got a whole bunch of them. I gotta put away my tools. I gotta finish that table. Huh? Yeah, I gotta finish this organ.
Okay.
And I gotta clean my shop.
Okay.
I still have to paint that thing out there.
Okay.
Now?
Abay, ewan ko. Bahala ka sa buhay mo. It's up to you. Whatever.
Start a vlog today? Is that today? No, I got too many. Why would I? How could I forget to start that vlog today? I'm sure I would have wrote myself some kind of note somewhere to remind me. It was why. Start a vlog today. I mean, I don't know why in the world she'd be thinking I'm supposed to start a vlog today. I mean, really? I don't know what's even that idea. All right, let's just see what she's all excited about. Let me find my calendar. Here it is. Let me find out the book here. Let's see what it has to say. All right. Oh, that's last week's schedule. Okay, what's this? Oh, crap. Excuse me. Oh, just give me a minute. I gotta make myself pretty, okay? I know what you're thinking. Vloggers are usually 20-something or 30-something hip guys with hip friends, lots of hip parties to go to and shoot video, and a lot of pretty people there. And they post these out, and they're fun. They're fun to watch, but there aren't very many videos being put out by an overweight, balding, middle-aged guy who's in his 50s who doesn't seem to shave often enough. What the hell would I have to say that you can relate to? By the way, I'm not really in my 50s. I'm only 30, but I have over 20 years experience. I've had a lot of jobs in my life, a lot of different experiences, varying taste. I know some people who, when they were 10 years old, they knew exactly what they wanted to be: a CPA, a fireman, a policeman. They wanted to be an engineer. Beautiful, and they all became that. I never really had that grasp on what I wanted to do in my life. There were so many things I was interested in that I wanted to do. I couldn't get my hand on any one that satisfied me enough to stay at it for a while. I remember my very first job. It was in 1977, Milpitas, California. Star Wars, the original Star Wars, had just come out. I had just turned 12 years old. And it was late in 77, and I started walking around to the neighborhood. I started asking neighbors if I could rake their lawn to earn, some cash. And I remember I wanted to buy Star Wars stuff. I remember going to the neighbor's house, asking, can I rake your lawn? I'll do it for 50 cents. They'd say, sure. And then I'd say, can I borrow your rake? And I get the looks I got, you haven't got a rake? No, I didn't have a rake. So they would always loan me their rake, and I would rake their yard with their rake, but I didn't bring any of my own supplies. I was 12 years old. What did I have? In 1978, the family moved to Japan. Stepfather was stationed there, and we moved to southern Japan, Iwakuni, Japan. And they had a summer job program for the military kids who, during the summer, I reckon it was to keep them busy and out of trouble. Didn't always work. My first job was on my hands and knees painting these little black and yellow stripes on the tarmac of the airport where the jets landed, the Navy jets, the Marine jets where they landed. And they had these concrete sewer covers that had to be painted with black and yellow safety lines, I guess, to let people know where they were. It smelled really bad. I'm sure it was a very dangerous lead-based paint with fluorescent on there, so it glowed at night when the lights touched it. Anyway, that was our job when I was 13 years old, living in Japan. After that, I got into high school, and I started reaching for, I'm going to piss off somebody here, I call them the low-hanging fruit jobs, the jobs that you can just walk in with no experience and just get them. I probably have had every single job possible. That takes no experience, but we'll train you. I worked construction site labor, dishwasher, prep cook, McDonald's, KFC. This went on for most of my high school career, so to speak. Right out of high school, I joined the Air Force. I was a medic in the Air Force. Didn't care for it very much. After I got out of the Air Force, I went to McDonald's for manager training. I thought that's what I would do. Didn't like it. Car salesman, multi-level marketing. I sold the soaps, I sold the shampoos, I sold the vitamins, I sold the legal services, I sold the plastics, I sold the chocolates. Did I say perfumes already? I sold them twice. I did the whole day labor thing. Usually I was working 2 or 3 jobs at the same time. If they were not full-time jobs, I usually had 3 of them. If it was a full-time job, I had a second part-time job somewhere. I also did a lot of things on the side that weren't related to my job. So often I would be working at a restaurant and part-timing at doing labor, and then on the side I was trying to sell stuff. So I was always busy. I've never been unemployed. I've been overemployed a few times, but never unemployed. I ended up attending culinary classes in Arizona and got my certificate, and I started working at a restaurant, and then they said that I should find myself an apprenticeship somewhere to finish my training. And most of the other students would go to the country clubs and to the hotels and to the regular, what you would expect a chef trainee to be heading into. I got a bug in myself to go talk to Japanese restaurants, and I got myself into the Japanese teppanyaki training and learning how to Japanese foods, and that was a lot of fun. I did the Teppan chef thing for most of about 7 years. It seemed like it was a lot longer than that, but I think it was probably 7 or 8 years. After doing teppanyaki for a bunch of years, I decided it was time to do something different, and I decided to go drive a big rig 18-wheeler. I attended the truck training school, then got a job driving a truck out of Texas, cross country, all states, and I was going to see the country and love every minute of it. I didn't love every minute of it. I found out very quickly how much I didn't like it. The truck driving thing just wasn't for me, really. After truck driving, I went back home and decided at that time we were going to move down to Mexico. I went down there and took my chef training with me, opened up a little teriyaki place with some sushi. We were down there for a couple of years, and then we came back to the U.S. for my son's education, so he could attend the school for the deaf and get a proper education with teachers who know how to work with deaf children. What I haven't mentioned during all this is that during this entire time, since I was about 14, I started learning sign language. I'm a bit hard of hearing myself. I always thought it might help me someday. And I started learning sign language. Then when I was 15, I met a deaf girl. There's always a girl involved, right? And she taught me more sign language. And then we moved again, and I ended up making more deaf friends at my new high school. There was a mainstream student there. And then by the time I finished high school, I had near native fluency because I was hanging out with all the deaf kids all the time and learning sign language that way. And just condensing real quick, I ended up moving back to Arizona, working as a chef, got a job at the Arizona School for the Deaf. Again, that dual job thing, I was living there. I got free rent to live in the dorms with the multiple handicapped children, like they were deaf and blind, or deaf and in a wheelchair, or cerebral palsy and deaf. It was in exchange for one room, which was basically the size of a little hotel room. I would stay 2 nights a week in the dorm to watch the kids, to make sure that they got out in case there's a fire. But I was still working as a chef. I was still going to the restaurants and cooking. It didn't even occur to me that sign language could be a job, that it could be some sort of income. I just assumed that, like many people, that sign language interpreters were friends of deaf, parents of deaf, siblings of the deaf, kids of deaf. They were they were teachers of the deaf, so they did sign language on the side and helped out. I had no clue it was actually a profession at the time. I was working at a country club, working as a chef. I was 31, I guess, 32, and somebody from our church offered me, "Why don't you come work for me at the high school? You're as an interpreter." I said, "I'm not an interpreter. I'm a chef. I went to culinary school. I did this." "Well, no, you're a very good interpreter. You actually sign better than most of the interpreters that work for me." "Really? See, oh, no. I'm making pretty good bank right now. I'm getting like $7.25 an hour." Now, in 97, when this happened, minimum wage was about $4 or $4.25 an hour, if I remember. So I was making a couple bucks more than minimum wage. And cooking in a restaurant, that's not bad. He said, "Well, we'll start you at $9 an hour if you're not certified, and then you can go up from there." Okay, you got my attention. Okay, I'll try it for a semester or 2, see if I like it, see if it's interesting. We'll see. And here I am 20 some odd years later, and just out of accident, this job of interpreting for me has become the job that I was probably meant to be in. I was not satisfied with this job or 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 this job. But interpreting, I get to go. So in the morning, for a couple of hours, I'm part of the team at this electronics place during a training. And then for a couple of hours, I'm at the school, interpreting math or history or chemistry. And then later on, I may be interpreting a performance. I might be at a bank. I might be at a court. It changes every single day. And I get to see so much. It's kind of like I get to go from one job to another just long enough to be very interesting to me, and then I get to leave and go somewhere else. There's a couple of things that these vlogs are going to be from me to you. Is just, we're going to have fun. We're going to be informative. We're going to try to be entertaining. Show you around a little bit. And take you along on some of our adventures. What it's not going to be is we're not going to go into politics. We're not going to go into religion. And we'll just try to keep it lighthearted. And there are places to discuss those kind of things. But I'm going to try to keep my vlog not one of those places. Okay, everybody. We're going to go ahead and close this up now. Just a quick summary. I am Ken. My wife is Melody. You'll get to meet her in future vlogs. I even bought a drone Viper camera just so I can take pictures and show you guys some really cool aerial shots of something. But this is the best I've gotten so far. yeah, so peace out, everybody. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. You know the routine. And we'll try my best to post at least once a week, if not more often. But we'll try to keep that once a week vibe going on for a bit. And so there.